All right, guys, today we're working on a 2000 Toyota Camry CE, and the problem we're working on is a maintenance problem. One of the lights is burned out on the instrument cluster. We should have a test lamp over here for the windshield washer fluid at a minimum. There may be some other ones burned out as well. It's hard to tell, but we're going to get this cluster pulled off and we're going to check all that. All right, first thing, if you got it, tilt wheel, lower the wheel as far as it'll go, get it out of the way. There's a couple of fastening screws here and here. They look like Phillips, but they're not. They're GIS screws, Japanese Industrial Standard screws. We're going to pull a GIS bit out, and we're going to use that to get them. You can use a Phillips, just be careful you don't strip them out. And after we get these two out, then it's just a matter of giving it a pull with a trim tool. That's going to be the hardest part of this whole job, is getting this bezel out without anything breaking, right? So it looks almost the same as a Phillips, but it's more narrow at the top. That's the only real difference. If you use a Phillips, just make sure you're careful you don't strip out the screw. That's what tends to happen if you use a Phillips head bit on a GIS screw. All right. Now, we need to get this pulled out. There's a clip here and a clip here. So we're going to focus on trying to get this out without breaking these. So I'm going to first try to get this going from the bottom, because there's a small little latch here and there's one here. So those are out. So now the hard ones are these two on the outside. We don't want to pull it like at an angle, or the plastic will break. What it's basically going to see it. It's going to have a plastic prong with a metal clip on the end. So we want to get it to pull forward. Like that. All right, that one's off. We use one of these off this side. Get this so we can grab it on the bottom on this side. I'm just going to pull forward. Here we go. All right, so that's what I was talking about. This clip and this clip. So we got it off without breaking it. Those were the two ones on the bottom that we pulled off. And go ahead and pull lint and stuff out of the way. When you got that, set that aside. Grab your GIS bit, and you've got a screw here and a screw here in this corner, one in each corner. We're going to pull those two, and then we'll... All right, just getting this last screw out here. A couple more of these up on top, guys. So one here, and all GIS number 2, and one here. Now we're done with the screws. 6 screws. There we go. All right, so I'm going to work this guy until we can get him away from the dash enough to turn him at an angle where we can reach behind and disconnect things. There we go. Just turn him up a little bit like that. All right, and there are our 3 connectors, a brown one, a white one, and a blue one. And to get these unplugged, you could probably work on the bulbs just like this, right? Because these are the twisties. But I'm going to go ahead and disconnect these for filming purposes. So on the top here, I don't know if I can get you guys to see that. If you can see on the other side here, there's like a push down clip on this guy right there. Right there. It's kind of off center. Each one of them is going to have something like that. So we're just going to work each of these connectors off by giving it a squeeze on that offset clip. All right, and then there's our system. So there are 5 backlighting bulbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are like a 194 size bulb with a green illumination shade over them. Then there's one bulb here that's used for the low fuel light. And then all of the other ones that are used for the indicators. And then if you have an LE, this is not populated on the CE, but if you have an LE, you'll have a row of these same type of bulbs for the automatic transactional gear positions. And this type of bulb is like a 174 type bulb. So we're going to take all of these bulbs out and we're going to bench test them. You can test them with a 12-volt lantern battery. You can test them with a 12-volt power supply. We're just going to take them all over and see which ones are bad. Here's a clip of an LE cluster just walking through all of these possible lamps so you can see what you might have that's burned out here. Starting off from the left over to the turn signal now. Then coming down to the center lights with the brake, high beams, door ajar, airbag, right turn signal, check engine light, traction off, ABS, cruise control, and washer fluid. Guys, I'm going to turn my power supply on over here. I'm going to set it for 12 volts. And basically, all we're going to do, we're going to pull each bulb out one at a time. It doesn't matter which side you grab it on. And we're just going to test each bulb, right? So this one's dead. This one's not. That's the technique. We're just going to go through every single bulb, and I recommend you do it like this so you don't forget where everything goes, until we change out, or we identify rather, every bulb that's burned out of all types. So I'm starting with these big illumination bulbs, and then I'll move on to the low fuel light because that's a one-off, and then we'll move on to the little ones that are represented by those 74 type bulbs. That's all we're going to do. Alright, so we finished checking and replacing all of our bulbs, and let me show you some information on the types of bulbs. So this is a shot out of one of the parts manuals from Toyota. The B level parts are the bulbs, and the ones without the B are the sockets. And what they're showing you is there's three types, A, B, and C, and then they're indicating where they are. So for example, the A type bulb are the illumination bulbs, and there's the 5 illumination bulbs that we saw. And a replacement of those is a Toyota part number 83119 24290. And that will include that green shroud over the top of this that you see. Now sometimes you can try to pull this off, although when they're really old they are very prone to tearing and ripping. But you can try to pull that off and just replace it with a 194 bulb, or you can just order it from Toyota and it'll all come complete. You don't have to worry about that. The B-type bulb is that one that we showed down here that's gray, and that's 83119-32010. And then all the other C-type bulbs, so for the turn signals, for all of the warning lamps, for the gear positions on the LE types but not on the CE types, that's going to be a 90, 981, 11, 018. Typically, that's the first choice, but then there's also a backup choice of an 83, 119, 020, 30. So those are the different bulbs for you and how they go in. So all we have to do to get this reinstalled is just reverse what we did, right? So we're going to bring this back up. Your connectors, right, are going to go in exactly the way we took them off. See if I can figure out a way to do this where you guys can see it better. Right. So make sure I'm putting this at the right orientation. You can't mess it up because they only go in one way. So blue, white's the really big one. You want to make sure that you feel it click. You should hear it click actually as well. And then brown. And we can slide this back in and twist it. There it goes. All right. And before we screw everything in, we'll actually do a lamp test again. We accidentally hit our turn signal on that, and we'll just make sure it looks like everything's repaired. And then all you got to do is put your screws back in, and then let me do that, and I'll come back and show you how to get this bezel back in without it breaking. All right, guys, so we've got these 2 clips and these 3 resting points, and then we got the clip on this side and this side. And depending on the supplier to Toyota, this little clip could be nylon like this one, or it could be metal. Same purpose. Work this under like this. What we're going to do is we're going to get these side clips in first. Want to make sure we get the air conditioning piece back in correctly. And then around the clock. There, it's all snapped in. Put 2 more screws in and you're done. So pretty easy job to do. Not anything that requires more than maybe 20 minutes of your time. If you found this useful and it helps you on how to get this off and replace a burned out bulb, go ahead and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Pay it forward for the information that's been shared. If you got a question or you ran into an issue, go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll try to help. And as always, thanks for watching.